Good morning, everyone. Good morning. How is your heart today? Is your heart kind? How's your mind? Is your mind calm and clear? Yesterday, I came back from the store and realized I didn't take my mic off, and I was walking around the store with the microphone on. Has this ever happened to you, or you watched somebody and, well, let me tell you, anybody, it could be you, it could be anybody, and they decide to do something and it doesn't go the way they planned, and then they say, I knew that was going to happen. Well, if you knew it was going to happen that way, why'd you do it? Yesterday, there was a video recommended, okay? And they were talking, well, the title was Carl Jung's theory about the shadow, our dark side. And I was curious. And after a couple of minutes, I had to shut it off because I started to get an inferiority complex. You know what an inferiority complex is? People will give you this, right? This is how they speak to you. And then you feel inadequate, insecure. And it stems from perceived or imagined flaws. So I'm listening to this woman talk about, well, two people in a relationship were arguing, and this was said and that was said, and the other one became sad, and this one became angry, and that's the shadow, that's our dark side. And I just thought to myself, a lot of arguments stem from misunderstandings. So let's talk about a trick. Something you could do when you have a misunderstanding. It's not just a misunderstanding. As soon as I hear argument, because of the way it's portrayed today, it is connected to violence, volatile, things get volatile. There's eruptions and screaming and carrying on. And no, arguments are disagreements that people have and misunderstandings, okay? And the reason it doesn't go well is because a lot of people have poor social skills. Well, somebody might unsubscribe when I say this. Stop conversing with people on your phone. They're on the other side of the room and you're texting them and they're texting you back. So we have disagreements, misunderstandings, okay? That doesn't mean that part of you is evil. Part of you is dark, all right? Have you watched that video I made that's titled, Yes, I Sin, but It's Not What You Think? You should watch it. It's pretty interesting. New information, new information. So I'm listening to this woman speak, and all of a sudden I was almost convinced that the reality I know is wrong. I think, and I mentioned this before, when they start talking about Carl Jung's theory about shadow and the dark side, I've said before, be careful what you watch. Be careful what you watch. You may come away with an inferiority complex. And the truth is, okay, here's the truth. I'm going to mention a step from the 12-step program because it taught me a lot about character flaws, character defects, and shortcomings. If I have a disagreement with someone, that doesn't mean I'm dark. My response to it, okay? If it's not an appropriate response, if the response is inappropriate, it doesn't mean I have a dark side. It doesn't mean I'm evil. It could have just been a misunderstanding. But in our time, everything gets blown out of proportion. Everyone's offended, easily offended, and people take things personal. Remember I mentioned that book I read years ago? I think it came out 1997, 1998 by Don Miguel Ruiz called The Four Agreements. And one of them is don't take things personal. So we have misunderstandings. We have disagreements with people. That's one side of it. What kind of people are we dealing with today? A lot of people today are suspicious about everything, okay? It's almost like that person that did something and said, I knew that would happen. Well, why'd you do it in the first place? So we have people that are suspicious today and paranoid. And there's probably, most likely, it's true that a small portion of them, that stems from a disabling, I call it a glitch in the system, disabling condition they were born with, okay? But there's other people that are suspicious of everything, paranoid of everything. Something happens that they didn't expect. You've been in this situation or you've seen it. You did that on purpose. Suspicious people, paranoid people, they're up, they're down, you don't know how to take them. They're not stable. Complain and whine about everything. They're not stable. I don't know the background. I could tell you my background and what happened to me growing up. It wasn't always pleasant. But I'm here at this point right now. Because I learned something from those 12 steps, and step 6 and 7 talks about character defects, character flaws, personality flaws, shortcomings. And one of the things that was revealed to me was I had poor social skills. I was that person that was paranoid, suspicious of everyone. What I learned from it is, after I got sober and started practicing spiritual principles, religious principles, philosophies into my life, and I had a good teacher, my first sponsor, they call them sponsors. He was a good spiritual advisor, okay? He was balanced, okay? And whenever I got in trouble, I would go to him and say, oh, this happened. Well, what happened? Oh, I flipped out. I flipped out. And he would say to me, when the dust settled, I'd give him this big story, okay? If it weren't for them, I wouldn't have done this. If they didn't say this, I wouldn't have said that. That type of thing. So when the dust settled, he would say to me, what were your motives? In a lot of cases, misunderstandings and disagreements, people get offended and then they want to punish the other person. Make them feel bad. So I learned that I had this list of people I was resentful at, okay? I'm resentful at so and so. This is why I'm resentful. This is how it affected my life. And from that, I learned because of poor social skills, because of being suspicious, because of being paranoid, I put myself in positions to be hurt or harmed. I say hurt or harmed. I'm talking about how people respond to each other when there's a misunderstanding, when there's a disagreement. Usually somebody's hurt. When they're harmed, it's frustration. They're disappointed, they're annoyed. That's a type of harm, okay? If you hold on to it, that's a whole other video, all right? But I realized that I put myself into these positions, and it goes deeper than that. Living the lifestyle I lived as a drunk back then, as a person with a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body back then, when I looked at my life, when I reviewed circumstances, I could see I made poor decisions along the way. A lot of times, one poor decision put me in a situation, didn't act appropriately, suspicious or paranoid, and then I put myself into another situation. Poor decisions, acting inappropriately, not responding to people, places, and things in a civil manner. So part of my problem was alcohol abuse, poor social skills, being suspicious, being paranoid, carrying resentments, not being honest, in denial. Please don't say denial's a river in Egypt. Denial is outright mental defective. Out of touch with reality. Consumed by all these burdens I was carrying for decades. And I learned something. That same higher power, God, the divine creator of the universe, that helped me with the drink problem. My sponsor, that spiritual advisor, says that same higher power, God, could help you with all your problems. Okay? And this is where I'm leading with this talk about the shadow, with this talk about the dark side, your dark side. Shadow, dark. Shadow, dark. All these things that I just spoke about led me to the light. It's light that dispels darkness. Did you know? Make it an amazing day. Make it. It's your choice. It's your decision what kind of day you're going to have. And not just that, make it an amazing life. It's your choice. It's your decision what kind of life you're going to have. So why not have a good one? I'll see you in the next video, hopefully. Johan out. Peace.